5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have my frenemy and guest, Mr. Redbeard himself, Bald Eagle Bryan Larsen with me. Welcome back to the channel, Bryan.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me. It's been a minute since I've given everybody kind of an update on how I'm doing. Do you mind if I kind of dive into maybe the last couple months really quick?
No, not at all, man. Go for it.
Yeah, well, first let me say thank you to everyone who's continuously reached out both at the time of my accident and since the accident during my recovery to ask how I'm doing. So every one of those messages is so well appreciated. I apologize for not being able to respond to every single one of them, but I do read them all. So let me start by saying thank you. But for those that don't know, I was in a horrible accident last July, 2019, July in a race that damaged some nerves coming out of my spine and effectively paralyzed some of my upper arm, which you kind of need a little bit of. And 2020 has just been the year of kind of, for everyone, is like overcoming obstacles and challenges and finding new ways to adapt. And I was doing that kind of before 2020 hit. So, spending a lot of time like all of you guys on the trainer, trying to find ways to hold the bars and go back to what normal was for me, which was cycling, right? Cycling's normal for me. And I was lucky that I had a great surgery last December, and we're starting to see like a little bit of flickers and some firing in my bicep and my rotator cuff. It's nowhere near normal, or what we would call normal, but I'm finding silver linings. I'm finding ways to adapt, and overall the experience has been pretty positive. So yeah, everything's trending positive right now.
Dude, that's great news. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of comments too that I just direct your way, Bryan, and I just love how the cycling community has come together, both just in comments too, but in all the support and love people showed right when this happened, because you're just a stalwart in the cycling community, Bryan, and yeah, I just love how everyone banded together and help support your recovery efforts. So it's really great to hear that things are trending in the right direction for you. And despite a crazy 2020, what's the future look like for you? Like how are things going? What's future Bryan looking like?
The future is very bright right now. I am actually I have some great news, which is I've actually ridden my bike outside, and that was enormous, and that was so. It was refreshing. It will still be a minute till I can go kick your butt again at Alviso, if ever again. But it's been really nice to get outside and feel the wind through my red beard a little bit.
Awesome, man. Thanks for the update. Should we dive into this footage? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So this is from Australia. Is that right, down under?
The land down under, yeah. This is the Norwood Club Champs sent in by Barnaby. And my apologies, Barnaby. I've been sitting on this footage for a while. But it's interesting stuff. I'm excited to get into it. Yeah, Barnaby sent this in. He has teammates. You guys recognize this course. I've already posted a video about it. We got some wind in today's race. One thing he called out in the notes, I'll keep this real brief before we get into the footage. He specifically said he wanted it to come down to a field sprint, and he was against the idea. He did not want to ride a breakaway. And I think that's a mistake, especially when you don't have teammates, to shut out this possibility of adapting in the race and of potentially riding a breakaway. I think you should always be able to adapt to whatever the race situation, however the race situation unfolds. Because let's face it, this is an unpredictable sport, and if you have grand plans, it always goes another direction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when when you're by yourself, you tend to think and race a little bit differently, and you hold back. The response is to be passive and hold back. And my mentality is it's always easier to be in a break than it is to chase a break. So trying to think forward during a racing, try to think of efficiencies and trying to make sure you make the right choices before you're on the back foot. That's for sure.
Yeah, so actually let's skip forward a little bit, because this whole race is going to get turned on its head for poor Barnaby here, and let's see how he adapts. So we've skipped forward quite a bit, but I want to go back to the very first lap for a second, because a group of 5 got away, which is kind of ironic, because when Barnaby's like, hey, I just wanted a field sprint, I don't want to race a breakaway, and then a group of 5 immediately gets away. That's like some karma right there. Every time I want there to be a field sprint, there seems to be a breakaway. Every time I want there to be a breakaway, there seems to be a field sprint. I don't know if that works that way for you, Bryan.
Yeah, it's like 100% success, or I guess it's really a failure rate on my end usually. So, But, at the end of the day, he was playing the game of, okay, I do want to conserve because I don't have teammates, so it makes sense that he doesn't want to be in that first move. But he made the commitment that he was going to be, holding back, and he's pretty close to the pointy end of this race right now.
Yeah, I think he kind of got up here by accident. And you can see it's fast now. Like, it is single file, and there seems to be some really motivated riders, let's say, on the front right now who are trying to close this down, because a lot of people aren't represented in that group of 5, right? This is a big field. Only 5 riders off the front. There's a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm not okay with that. I want to win. This is the club championship after all. And some people are just not quite fit enough to be up here. Look at this. Gaps opening up. There doesn't seem to be a lot of organization. Now we're doing over 1,000 watts. This guy's checking back. And look, now it's just starting to fall apart. So this looks like from a guy who says he doesn't want to race a breakaway, he certainly seems like he's in the right position to join a breakaway.
Yeah, he's definitely like paying attention, and he's responding quickly. Like this guy in front of him with the calf implants definitely was hitting really, really hard there, and he followed suit. So, I mean, if you're following the wheel, you pretty much need to assume that you're going to pull through, which is exactly what he does right after, right? So the question is him pulling on the front right now truly helping him his final chances, and is it aligning with what he said he wanted to do? And the answer is, in my opinion, is no. He's just dragging the group along, but then he does it in a way that it's such a hard pull that then people can't quite pull through, and it becomes even more disorderly, right? Which is even worse than doing the pull to begin with.
Yeah, every one of you, I know I've talked about this in my other videos, but it's worth repeating. Every time you're using energy and you're pushing through the wind like he is right now, it has to be deliberate. Like, there has to be a reason behind this. And if you're just at the front dragging the whole field, that's not a deliberate move. That's wasted energy. Fortunately for him, that rider in the back with the black kit and the white shoes just drops anchor and is like, that's going too fast for me for whatever reason. And he kind of gets lucky here, and a gap just kind of opens up by accident. Like, this isn't usually how breakaways get away, you guys. But he got really lucky, and this ADX rider bridges across. By the way, MVP, whoever this ADX rider is, hopefully he watches this, because I want to commend him for solo bridging and then immediately taking this monster pole on the front. That's how you make a successful breakaway. This guy is racing like he's in a P12 field.
100% agreed. Like, you have to commit. You can't just be in the break. You have to be the one contributing to the break if you want that break to be successful. And he does exactly that. So I would also echo that MVP award. But then Burnaby does come to the front here, and he does do a pretty big pull himself, which is again important. Like, these long, hard, fast pulls right when a breakaway is getting established, where you're not playing games, you basically want to delay the game playing for as long as possible, because that's when things start to become inefficient.
Well, look at how all 3 of them are working together. I think Barnaby, let's throw Barnaby a bone here. I think he probably looked back and was like, oh, we have a gap. That's when he decided to really turn it on. And he's got the afterburners going now, over 400 watts, and they're establishing their gap. And by the way, all 3 of them are establishing their gap. This is another thing I've mentioned on the channel. It's worth mentioning again, which is, if you want to race a breakaway, again, Barnaby said he didn't want to, but now apparently he does. It is so important to commit to it and to not start sitting on within the first couple of laps thinking I'm going to save energy for the sprint, because that is how a breakaway fails.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing I would add to that is ensuring that when you do get in that breakaway, that you're also being really steady and smooth. And I am seeing, I don't know, I would call it this breakaway still pretty spiky. When he goes to the front, I feel like Burnaby's taking 300-400 watt pulls, and then it's backing down to 150-200 watts. So I think the best thing for all of these riders is to even see that gap's open. He's doing 500 watts out of this corner. I think it's to avoid all those accelerations as much as possible. And yeah, maybe it's a little bit slower for a moment because you're not accelerating straight out of the corner. But guess what? You're going to be able to go the distance much faster overall if you just remove those accelerations or at least minimize them.
What was your saying again? It's like
slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
That's the one. I knew you knew what I was talking about based on my excellent description. And before I forget, he mentioned in his notes there's there's a group of 3 up the road. There's actually 5 riders. It's broken into 2 smaller groups. This group of 3 that you can see right now, that group of 3 is their field. That's the first of 2 breakaway groups ahead of them. Forget about that group of 4. That is a lapped field. There's kind of chaos in this race. Forget about them. But that group of 3, look how close they got. He mentioned in his notes that our MVP, ADX, he loses a couple of MVP points because, according to Barnaby, he does not know that that group of 3 is a breakaway group. Which, by the way, Barnaby, if you feel like your breakmate doesn't know what's going on in the race, it's okay to tell him, hey, let's turn on the gas a little bit more because we're about to catch that group of 3. Anyway, they don't end up making it. Whoa, another field passing them. There's kind of chaos on this course. They let out multiple fields, and they don't pull lapped riders, so it's a little bit chaos. But what do you think? Let's fast forward to the end and talk about how the end of this race plays out.
Yeah.
All right, 2 kilometers left, Brian. We've cut through a whole bunch of smooth rotating among these 3 guys. Maybe not the smoothest, most efficient rotating, but hey, they're riding a breakaway. They're committed to it. Pretty stoked on that.
Yeah, I think by smooth, I think at the end of the day, everyone's pretty much taking equal pulls, right? Equal lengths, equal speeds, equal effort across the course for the last however many Ks, right?
Yeah, surprisingly even. Like usually there's at least somebody who starts to get tired, start to give up, starts to want to play the game or something like that. But that being said, they weren't able to catch anybody in front of them, so there's still 5 riders up the road, way up the road. Uncatchably up the road at this point, and there's still a peloton minutes behind them, probably lapped at this point, to be honest. So they're not getting caught. They're not doing any catching is the bottom line. So I was so excited to see the cat and mouse that ensues because this is so much fun to me. When you're in a breakaway that it's like, okay, well, we're not changing our position with respect to other riders in the race, so it's time to start playing that game, right? And like I kept waiting for it. I don't know about you, Brian. What do you think?
Yeah, it never happened. Like they just kept pulling. Like I thought we had lap cards wrong or something, right? Like everyone just kept pulling, and like the pack was barreling down on them. And I think that comes with experience to know when you're in danger of being caught or not. But at the end of the day, I mean, Barnaby mentioned that he set PRs power-wise for the ends of this race across this entire power curve. That's not what you want to be doing if you're not actually advancing yourself. And with 800 meters to go, taking the front, yeah, you might be setting some PRs, but you're probably not going to get the result you want.
Getting passed by the P12 field here, you can see that they're making 26 miles an hour look like it's not very fast. But yeah, I mean, like you said, he literally took the front at 900 meters to go, and he literally said in his notes that he set a bunch of PRs. You want to set PRs on training rides. During races, you want to do minimum power, by the way. That was a lesson I didn't learn until much later. But like now he's just kind of sitting at the front riding at threshold or above threshold, and like he's being a loyal teammate to his teammates. Wait a second. These aren't his teammates. What's he doing? He's just leading them out. Now he's doing 650 watts with 220 meters to go. So it's all very bizarre to me. I understand that he wants to take the last corner first. I do mention that a lot on my channel, but you don't want to sit on the front for the whole final last kilometer. And he still pops off like a decent sprint, which is impressive, but he gets passed by both of these guys right at the line.
Yeah, and I think there's like a threshold when you screw up. And I think at the end of the day, the threshold for this course was he was stuck on the front going into that corner, which means he's going to be the one to launch them into that finish line. And yeah, too little, too late. If you're going into the corner first and you guys are just like kind of dragging yourself around, you can't do much about it. You're just going to end up being the lead out person.
Yeah, but Barnaby's strong. Like, obviously, he still almost took that. He entered the breakaway by accident, pretty much. He let out the breakaway, and he still almost beat everybody in the breakaway. So, like, obviously, he has a ton of ability. I think he's going to figure out the nuance of bike racing and strategy, and he's going to be absolutely smashing and going up to grade A or whatever it is in the land down under. I don't know what that conversion is.
Yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, it's not even about doing 10 things different. It's probably realistically about doing 1 or 2 things different, right?
Yep. Cool. That was a lot of fun, Brian. Good having you back. Thanks for the update, by the way, too, man.
Yeah, there's more exciting stuff to come there, and we can talk about that at another time, so stay tuned.
Yeah, if you guys have questions specifically for Brian, I won't dox him and give out his email, but you can reach both of us in the comment section below. So we love engaging with you guys down there. Just let us know. Consider subscribing. It's totally free. Catch you guys later. Later, Brian.